Well, the lights have come on, so it must be 1 o'clock, which it is. I'll call the meeting to order. First item of business is approve the minutes of September 28th.
Move approval.
And moved and seconded. Anybody have any corrections or additions to those minutes? Please record your vote. Those are approved unanimously. Thank you. Next is the consent docket. There are 3 items. It's sand mining report, oil and gas report, and the Oklahoma River corridor events update. You're moved and seconded. Anybody have any questions on any of those reports? Record your vote. It's approved unanimously. Thank you. Primary agenda, agenda items. Excuse me. I received Oklahoma City Community Foundation Charitable Organization Endowment Fund Report fiscal year ending June 30th, 2010, which you have in your book, and those are all those funds have either come from earnings or contributions from the River Parade, and so we'll make another contribution after this year's parade. Anybody have any questions on that? And I think the market's probably recovered a little bit, pretty good since June 30th. I think there's probably quite a bit larger than that. Anybody have any questions?
Move approval. Okay,
moved and second that we receive the report. Record your vote. Those are approved unanimously. Next item is to approve an agreement with City Care, Inc. for the maintenance, development, operation, and programming of a parcel of city-owned property located at 6625 Southwest 15th Street, generally known as Crystal Lake. Pat? Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, trustees, we have present with us Mr. Steve Zabel, who is with the City Care organization. This was an RFP process, the results of which were screened and ultimately approved for recommendation by the Land and Water Use Committee. And it has been under negotiation between the City Care Council and the Municipal Councilor's Office. What you see before you today is the definitive agreement that is recommended. It's a 5-year initial term with a series of 5-year renewals, so a total of 25 years. It does take the maintenance responsibility off the shoulders of the city. City Care is willing to take that on as part of the consideration. The programming that is being proposed we see is very consistent with the park uses and related development up and down the river, so if there are questions, we'd be happy to address them. Also, we'd be happy to ask Mr. Zabel to step forward if there are any questions specific to their operation. Otherwise, staff very pleased to recommend this for approval.
Okay, thank you. Steve, do you have anything you want to say? Other than we do appreciate very much you doing this with City Care.
I would just like to thank you for the opportunity and tell you that our vision is to develop Crystal Lake as an oasis for disadvantaged inner city kids. I think of my life, and I think of growing up without my dad taking me hunting and fishing and all the things that he taught me, and I think that I've got a passion, and I know we have a passion as an organization, obviously with all the work we do with our tutor mentor program called the Whiz Kids and all of our other programs that we have, that this fits in perfectly with what our mission is. And my particular vision is to offer every inner city child that's disadvantaged an opportunity to come to Crystal Lake and learn about the outdoors and experience God's greatest gift. So that's all I have to say. And to give you my pledge that we will do the very best of our ability to make all these things happen.
Thank you, Steve. Thanks. I think it's a great partnership between River Trust, the city, and City Care. And Steve, we appreciate it very much. Do we have a motion? Any discussion?
Mr. Chairman,
yes.
Just for the record, our law firm represents City Care, so I think it's appropriate I abstain from this vote.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Please record your vote. It's approved unanimously. Thank you, Steve. Appreciate it. Let's see what we have. You might want to stay for one more just in case. We have item C is to receive report for operating rules and regulations for Crystal Lake property as submitted by City Care.
Mr. Chairman and trustees, this is a companion item to the now approved document, and it would be appropriate that you receive this. According to the terms of the lease agreement, some of the operational details are left to the discretion of the general manager or his designee, but it does require that some of the major issues be spelled out in writing. So that's the intent of the operating rules and regulations document that you have before you. It has been reviewed by staff as well as the general manager, and we would recommend that it be received for the record.
Okay. Are there anything from you two?
I have called their attorney, and we have not gotten a response. There's one item. This document indicates they can charge appropriate fees to rent the facility, and we have asked that perhaps we review and approve those fees.
Okay, so do we need to amend something on that?
No, we do not.
Just approve these as submitted then?
For this, at this moment, yes.
Okay. Any other questions? Motion? Been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Any discussion? Record your vote. That's approved unanimously. Thank you. Now you can leave. Thank you, Steve. Appreciate it. Next is item D, is ratify action of City Council in approving amendment number 1 and change order number 1 for the project Public Works maintenance facility.
Mr. Chairman, change order 1 and amendment number 1 includes a number of things. An amendment is for an item that we have unit prices on, and so there's some structural concrete that was added in several areas. One was to increase the size of the slab for the fuel system because we didn't know exactly at the time of the design how large that was going to be. We also increased quantities for structural concrete to facilitate the abutment size for the dock, and again, we didn't know what the exact size of the dock was until we got that information from the dock manufacturer. And increased some concrete for areas between the ADA ramp switchbacks, and that'll alleviate some erosion issues in the area. And that's the majority of the change order, of the amendment. The change order is primarily for a new pay item to do excavation for dirt required to lower the dirt elevations on the east side of the parking lot, to preclude erosion into the parking lot, and for galvanized handrails on the switchback ramp for ADA requirements.
Okay. Anybody have any questions? Second. We're moving to second. Any discussion? Record your vote. Approved unanimously. Item E is approve the Oklahoma City Riverfront Redevelopment Authority regular meeting schedule for calendar year 2011. Subject to future changes. Been moved and seconded. Subject. I'll bring mine up later. Any discussion? Other discussion? You have something, Larry? No.
I was just going to say, how many of these in January and February do you plan to make?
On the grounds that may incriminate me, I'm not even going to say anything on that. Please record your vote. Approved unanimously. Thank you. Several I will miss. Yes, thank you.
I'm sure he'd be more than happy to chair the meeting if we'd all come to him, probably.
Yeah, we can do that. Sure. Item 6, claims docket. Need a motion, please.
Move approval.
Been moved and seconded. Any questions on that? Please record your vote. Approved unanimously. Additional items, comments by staff. Do you have anything, Pat, anything else you need to bring up?
Under the Director of Development report, Mr. Chairman, only that a couple of things for highlight purposes. One is that the Devon Boathouse christening ceremony went very well, was extremely well attended, and we've been getting clippings and newsreel clips from literally all over the world in every language that you can imagine. So it absolutely did put us on the map in a bigger way than we thought. And as is appropriate, the MAPS 3 program, some of the very first items to be out for a request for proposal include elements of the river portion of that project. So you'll hopefully see some tangible evidence of that moving forward here in the next several months. And I would point out, too, that when we did the dedication of the Devon Boathouse, we did have the recently appointed CEO of the U.S. Olympic Committee in town. He was highly appreciative of the efforts of Oklahoma City, the leadership of our mayor, city council, this body, and others in putting the river on a map in a big way. And I think he was, in his own terms, blown away by what he saw. He had heard anecdotally through the USOC staff that Oklahoma City really had a major role to play in the Olympic movement, but I think until he saw it firsthand, he hadn't realized the extent to which it was so significant. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions. Otherwise, would request that the report be received as submitted.
Anybody questions? I might make a comment, too. I was down, like several that are here, to the boathouse dedication. That is really a nice boathouse, and I want to commend the city for that, the parking lot and the roads. I mean, it was amazingly nice, really was nice, and you can just see how it's going to progress over time, but it was parking and ingress and egress was just really very, very nice. I was very impressed, and that is a first-class boat. I hate to even call it a boathouse. It sounds like we ought to call it, to have come up with some other name, but that is quite a structure. It's really pretty, and I think it's probably the east side, that patio area is going to turn out to be a place that a lot of people are going to do events, especially in the summer, because it's shaded from the sun, and it's just very comfortable out there.
Nice layout.
Yeah, the city put in, I think it was $5 million out of TIF $2 on that, and most of the projects, what we did was the shoreline improvements, the sheet pile and the notches and such in the shoreline, some dirt work, some utilities. We did land acquisition. We had to buy that piece of land that was required where the parking lot is, tore down the facilities. We built the parking lot, and we built the roadway in there. The roadway and parking lot were not done at the time of the dedication, but they were usable. So.
Well, they looked like they were done, all but maybe striping. I mean, it was really well done. It was really very, very nice. Appreciate that.
A quick question, Pat, if I could. I think one of the early projects is the windscreens.
Yes.
That we're talking about. Are we working with all the stakeholders along the river, in particular the Native American Cultural Center?
Yes, there will be in-depth discussions with that organization. There already have been some preliminary discussions, but certainly nothing would go into place or even be significantly planned absent their input. Absolutely.
I think there's a little concern there.
Councilman, the mayor is in the process of appointing the MAPS subcommittee for the river improvements, and I know that a couple of you, I don't know exactly how many yet, but off this trust have been asked to serve on that, so there'll be some coordination there also.
Yep. Larry.
Pat, quick question. On page 3, first item up there, at the top, Meridian Group of Oklahoma City Hotel Association indicates that you're expecting a letter of principle the latter half of October. Is that still on target? Because we're in the latter half of October.
We believe so. They have had one meeting. There's another one yet to be scheduled, so we're highly anticipatory that will come through. Have not seen it yet, but that's been the input from the members of that hotel association that we've been in touch with the last several weeks.
Jeannie, do you have anything on the river cruiser update? Last month you were pretty optimistic on the charters for September. I didn't know how October.
Yes, we did 104 charters last year. We're at 111 already so far this year, and we're busy booking November and December. September was probably a record month for us for charters, so we're hoping to see a significant amount for December also.
I received your mailing, I don't know, about 2 weeks ago. I thought it was really very well done. Did anybody else get that mailing? Yeah, I thought it was very nice, very professional.
I booked my company holiday party on a boat.
Good.
Yeah, we're going in December.
Yeah. Is that,
I can get that for you. I have a master calendar.
Yeah. Is that with or without adult beverages? How are you doing that?
I believe that would be with adult
With, okay, good. Okay.
No children, adult beverages.
Yeah. Thank you. Anything else? No. Okay, thank you. Anything from trustees? Gary?
I would just say that the holiday boat parade is coming up here shortly, and going to have it again this year. And I know that they're hunting for boat entries. Mike always struggles with getting enough boats in there, but anybody watching this or anybody that has a friend that'd like to get a boat involved in that, we need to increase the numbers. It's always good every year, but it'd be nice if we could just keep adding more and more boats that have more decorations on them.
Okay, thank you. Anything else, trustees? Citizens? Staff? Thank you. We're adjourned.